Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be answering your questions that you asked me specifically. You guys know I got your back. I saw a lot of requests to do videos, so I wanted to give you my insights on these specific stocks that you guys wanted me to talk about. So number one, I'd say the biggest comment, the number one that people asked me to do a video on is UIP Path. So I'm going to start on that one, okay? So this company has not gotten much love, guys. Even with interest rate cuts happening, the stock hasn't gone up a lot. It's considered, more of a mid to big cap company. And they're in a good space with the RPA, robotic process automation, but a lot of people are worried about Microsoft, and some stocks just don't get love, and that's okay. And UiPath is one I don't think you need to have a big position in, and I don't think you need to add to it. It's one you kind of stash away in your long-term portfolio if you're already in it. And let's say you bought it, closer to 20 bucks a share. You don't want to take that big of a loss. I would just hold it long. Just don't add anything. And one day I think it will recover. A lot of the reason the stock sold off is because the CEO changed. But again, the CEO that's there now was there before, is the founder of the company. And this company's a lot cheaper now. It's still not super cheap, okay? But it is much more reasonable now. So if you're patient with this one, I think it's going to recover one day. But again, I know it's been a frustrating stock, so I don't think you need to put any more money into that, obviously, okay? Focus on other stocks. So those are my thoughts on UiPath to start. Next one, I'll just get this one out of the way. Micro Cloud, hologram. I would stay away from this one, guys. This is a company that could go bankrupt. Again, if you want to try to day trade these penny stocks, be my guest, because I understand, with the risk on rally with small caps doing better, but you still want to pick companies that you think are going to be around, not going out of business potentially. So I'd say no to Micro Cloud, okay? I know I got a couple comments on that one. And then also Snowflake, guys, this is another one that even though the stock price is really low, it still has a high valuation, and they have decelerating growth, and they're losing money on a gap basis. So you have to watch out with this one. Even though I think it could have a dead cat bounce again, this is one that could go under 100 bucks a share, so you just have to be careful. It's small position, very tiny position only, in my opinion, if you're going to play it. Remember, it's all about controlling your position size. You can play stocks, but again, the ones with higher valuations, the riskier ones, you do a very small bet, and then, you can handle that, obviously. So Snowflake, for me, it's not in my top stocks right now, okay? Even though they're in AI, they work with NVIDIA, they partner with all the major players out there. The problem is their valuation, and that's why, it's not one of my top stocks, okay? And then Navitas, guys, semiconductors. This one I want to talk to you about. This is at like $3 a share. If there's ever a time you're going to play this one, this is a good one to just stash away as your 10x or bust type of stock for the future, because of how low it's trading. And if NVIDIA beats and raises on their earnings, I think that's going to give the whole semiconductor space a lift. And these, small cap, semiconductor stocks can really shine. So I do like Navitas, even though, again, they're losing money still, right? It's a good one. Like I said, high risk, high reward. Again, you don't need to have a big position, but this is one you could stash away in your retirement portfolio and just see what happens, 20 years from now with a small position. So, okay, because they are what they do, with AI and semiconductors, I like it. I like that space. That's my number one. That's why I'm okay holding some of that long, okay? And maybe even just playing it short term, you can catch a nice bounce with how oversold that is. I saw some price targets with this stock that are super high, so that's why it's worth the risk reward. The risk reward is favorable to me, okay? So the next one is Solar Edge. I talked a little bit about this. So I mentioned this was one I was buying on Sunday because it being in a interest rate sensitive sector, right? We know solar is, and they've been hit hard. Now, what we didn't know was going to happen was the CEO was going to step down, right? That was the news this morning that came out, okay? And so anytime, there's nothing more that investors hate than uncertainty, right? And when a CEO steps down, that usually causes a sell-off. And actually it was up pre-market, went up pretty nicely, and then it sold off hard at market open. And this stock, like I was saying before, my other video yesterday was up at like 300. Now it's down to like 26 bucks a share. So if you just stash this away and wait for the rebound one day, I think this stock will bounce, but you have to wait until a new CEO is announced. And if they do have some good experience in that industry, that's when the stock's really going to spike. But for now, it could be in no man's land, right? Until there's more certainty, a clearer picture of where the company's going, okay? But I do think it's going to bounce eventually, being in this interest rate sensitive sector right now, and how much the stock's been beaten up. Just go look at the charts. Okay, and I think this is a company that will survive, that will make it. Okay, so I think that the stock will rebound. It could be one that, if you're patient, like I said, stash away and see what happens. Next on the list is Terran Orbital, which just got bought out. And I had a question, should I keep this stock after it's being bought out? And I usually, when a company is being acquired, I sell the company that's being acquired. So in this case, Terran Orbital, it usually pops on the news of it getting bought out, and then I take my profits. How that usually works is the shares of Terran Orbital, or LLAP is the ticker symbol, will convert into shares of, I think it was Lockheed Martin who bought them. Yep. So usually you get, it's, like I said, converted into shares of Lockheed Martin. So you got to make sure you want to be with that company, obviously. So usually I sell the rip and move on. Okay. And then next on the list here, we have Lululemon, guys. So this is one I recommended not too long back, but after doing more research and seeing more news articles, okay, there is more competition, okay, than I initially thought. And even though I think they have this brand loyalty, like Lululemon, obviously people love that brand, women, right? They have the men's division, shoes, right? International growth has been doing well. More people are being conscious of their spending. And we know Lululemon is very expensive, and now you can get things off of Amazon for much cheaper, and that is an issue. So there is more competition. Now, I do believe a lot of that's already factored into how much the stock is sold off, but I don't have as much of conviction as I used to on this one. So if you do play it with earnings coming up, remember, on Thursday, then I would just do a small position, okay? But I think Ulta actually could do better because Warren Buffett is behind it, and their numbers, their financials are a little better. They still have competition as well, guys, but the beauty sector, what they're doing, I think will hold up a little bit better, okay? Their cash flows, I believe, are better as well. So Ulta over Lululemon is what I'd say now, and especially with Warren Buffett behind it, this could get a short-term lift with how much that one sold off, okay? Next on the list here, let's talk about SoFi, guys. This is a great opportunity because with interest rate cuts, there's going to be a lot of refinancing going on, and that's what SoFi benefits from that. Also with student loans, again, refinancing with that, but also with personal loans being taken out, the lower interest rates. So SoFi is going to bounce, guys. It's only a matter of time before this gets back in the 9s, and I think it'll get over 10 again. But again, this one Wall Street doesn't like, but at some point down the road, Wall Street may flip and say they do like it, and that's all it takes for it to go to the next level to get up to the teens. So I like SoFi, guys, a lot here. And I love Upstart, guys. I've told you about this one. I followed this stock since 2019. Hopefully you guys are making money. It's already doubled, okay, since I've been recommending it. And like I said, SoFi is kind of like that because they do the personal loans, but I like Upstart more, as you know, because they have the personal loans, the auto loans, the HELOCs, all interest rate sensitive. It benefits their business, all their businesses. So that's why Upstart could continue to climb, but I always say wait for a pullback, okay? Next here, I had a question about leveraged ETFs, how those work. So the leveraged ETFs are where it's 3 times bull, right? A certain sector, like the small cap one is TNA, I believe, or it's TZA. I always mix up the two. But just know these leverage ETFs, okay, they move a little differently than a normal stock, and you have to pay a fee when you buy these, okay? But you can get bigger gains, playing, the leverage ETF versus a specific, stock. Like let's say you play, right, the Russell 2000, right, the IWM. You could play more aggressively with a leverage ETF like the small cap 3 times bull, which is again TNA or TZA. Again, I forget which one, but just know they have a fee, and I prefer, it's only a day trade if I do those. So someone brought up a question on that. So those are my thoughts on leverage ETFs. Okay. And then Bitcoin, guys, questions people asking if I think Bitcoin is good right now. The answer is yes. I've been saying this for a while. I think this is going over 100,000 eventually and beyond, okay, because of the scarcity of it, the every 4 years with the halving, okay, many reasons why, okay, but especially with becoming potentially a strategic reserve, right? I don't know if that would happen. That's open for debate, but still just the talk of that. Now institutions, guys, being behind it, okay, with the Bitcoin ETFs, that's why I believe it's going to keep going higher, all right? So Bitcoin's my favorite, followed by MicroStrategies, guys, okay, because they own a lot of Bitcoin. Followed by Coinbase would be my next play. And then the miners. I know I've gotten a lot of questions about Riot, Mara, those, Clean Spark. And I just noticed, like I said, the charts are not doing as well as some of the other names, okay? But I think they're going to catch a lift with Bitcoin. Don't get me wrong. I think they'll still go up, but I just think owning Bitcoin is the way to go because this can go up exponentially. You know, the price targets for Bitcoin, you know, people say it can go to 1 million one day. You never know, right? And that's why there's a lot more upside if you just own it directly. Or like I said, MicroStrategy owns a lot of Bitcoin, so you can play that one. And then Coinbase, obviously, with trading it, okay? And then the miners, like I said, it's just their business models I don't like, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of those. That's just me personally. Next on the list here, let's talk about Micron while I have it here. So some of you may be like, oh, like you're sick of, right, buying the dip because this stock hasn't moved in a little bit. Be patient with this one, guys. Micron, the memory chips are being used in Blackwell, and all these other mega caps are going to start using Micron's chips with their memory. This memory, guys, is supposed to like 50x over the next like 10 years or whatever it is, okay, with all this new advanced technology that needs this stuff, okay? So just know that Micron you're going to see a lot of deals come out of Micron partnering with, you know, these big cap names, as we know, like the Amazons, the Googles, okay? So be ready for that. And like I said, just partnering with NVIDIA and their chips being in Blackwell, okay? And probably the next generation with Rubin, okay? I can't remember if they will be, probably. So that's why I like Micron. It's cheap too. And like I said, this is just the beginning of the up cycle. I've done a lot of videos on Micron. You just have to be patient, guys. It doesn't always move when you want it to. And we know there's a rotation. There's a broadening out right now with the stock market away from the large caps going into the small caps, right? So it may pause, but here's the catalyst: NVIDIA's earnings. If they beat and raise, and if they raise guidance healthily, again by a lot, then if NVIDIA goes up, Micron's gonna go up right with it, okay? And there's a lot of room for this to get back to its all-time high. So be patient. This is one you can stash away for the next year or two and watch it climb back, you know, to where it was, okay? So give it time with that. Be patient. That's one of my favorite stocks. Also, I include Applied Materials in there now. I like this one because NVIDIA wouldn't exist. Jensen Huang even said this, that NVIDIA would not exist without Applied Materials. And that's a huge statement. It just shows how vital they are with what they provide, okay? So I've already talked about that one. And then obviously right now, because of, you know, NVIDIA having earnings, I think they're going to beat and raise. Then ASML, Taiwan Semiconductor, right? These companies, these semiconductor names, right? Even like Lam Research, right? They're going to benefit if NVIDIA beats and raises. So I'm buying these now, okay? So Taiwan Semiconductor, Applied Materials, ASML, Micron, right? These are all going to catch a lift with NVIDIA if they beat and raise, okay? Next on the list here, I had a question about ADMA and also LiPo, L-I-P-O. These are both biotech stocks. And I looked at their valuations, guys, and they're much too high. I would rather have you guys be in IPSC. I recommended this one yesterday. It was up about 11%. I can't remember exactly, but I had a strong day today. It went over $2. This one has a price to book of like 0.68. Now it's a little higher after today's rally, but I think this is going to get to 1 at least of a price to book and probably beyond that. So those are the ones you want to look at right now, guys. Biotech is interest rate sensitive, right? That sector. And so look for the companies. If you find anything that's under a 1 price to book and even 1 price to sales potentially, okay, then those are good ones you can play because, like I've been saying, all boats rise with the tide with this interest rate cut. So those are the ones I'm looking at. That's why I recommended IPSC and why it had a good day. And I expect that to continue to rally. But of course, dips are going to happen, guys, still, right? Nothing goes straight up. Remember that. So try to get in, watch. If you want to get in a stock, you got to watch it closely and wait for that dip buying opportunity. So you try not to buy at the top. Obviously, that's the name of the game, all right? And anything that rips, remember, you still want to trim a little and raise your stop loss. Always, always, always remember that, guys. So you win no matter what off of that first rip, okay? Next on the list, let's see, we got Celsius Holdings, guys. This one has been another frustrating one. Now, a lot of people think this is really cheap, and it's actually still not super cheap. It's PE ratios in the 40s. They're having decelerating growth. There's more competition. There's more, there's fighting over shelf space in stores. But we do see Celsius Holdings in all stores, and they are the #1 brand in the energy division. And the PEG ratio is about 1, a little under that, I think. So I think it's only a matter of time before the stock at least bounces back to 50, Okay, it's at 40 and some change right now. So that would be a nice gain, obviously, if that happens. That's all I'm really playing it for, is a quick swing, because like I said, there are some negatives, okay, with their valuation still, all right, and the decelerating growth and the competition. So that's one I'm playing now, but it's not something I'm holding long, and just personally, okay? So hopefully, guys, that answers your questions. I went through everything I put down on my list. I tried to go through all of your comments to see what you guys wanted to see a video on. So I hope that helps you guys. You know I got your back. And always remember the super thanks tab, guys. You can donate to my channel. You click on the super thanks underneath the video and you can help out my channel. And like I said, it gets reinvested into helping you guys, and it's much appreciated by me. So appreciate y'all. Have a great night and have a good trading week.